This audio recording is about quotes. And I've decided that going forward, on top of the All About Scorpio topics that I've been uploading a few years back, I wanted to try something else, and I wanted to share some of the famous quotes written or said by famous personalities, or something that you just bumped into. Like in my case, I'm a Pinterest addict. So these are the quotes that I really like because either I can relate to it or something that would really inspire me. So I wanted to share this. But definitely I'm going to post some topics about Scorpio soon. But this is just one of, the topics that I'd like to share about quotes. And let me also share this. When I was young or younger, I find quotes, especially the love quotes, really, really mushy and so cheesy that I find it silly whenever I see people really so addicted about sending quotes, especially through text messages. But then, sooner or later, it depends on the quotes, of course, but sooner or later, I begin to realize that these quotes are actually something that would really, or meant to inspire you, really, to motivate you and to encourage you about something, and definitely something that you can pick up on and, learn from it. Because even though you know a lot of quotes, like thousands of quotes, but if you're not really applying it, it's useless, right? Now, before I begin, I think I'm just going to read off probably 3 or 4 quotes that I like, and just talk about it. There's no right and wrong. This is just basically what I think about it. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying that it's, totally wrong, but, everyone is entitled to their own opinion anyway. But it's just basically what I think, or based on my own input about it. So anyway, let's start with the first quote here that I, pretty much like. Number 1 would be careful who you trust. The devil was once an angel. Okay, it says here, trust breeds betrayal. People can smile behind their teeth. And it's a dog-eat-dog world. Some people have bigger teeth than you do. So don't go trusting people so easily because they appear to be nice people. And I was a victim of that, honestly, It's funny because Scorpios, talking about Scorpios, okay, Scorpios are very much particular in terms of trust. And believe me, ask any other Scorpio people out there that they're really, the type of people who's pretty much having a hard time trusting people. But I was still, a victim of this type of quote here, especially what it said there about, you should be very careful. It doesn't mean that if a person is doing a lot of good things for you, or are smiling at you, that they're very, very, they appear to be really nice, that you can trust them, right? I've had that kind of experience, and I tell you, it's quite, heartbreaking, really, when it happened to you, when you sooner or later you will realize that, they weren't, the person that you thought them to be, and, it's true. You have to be very careful because not all people who are smiling at you, not all people who are actually doing great things for you are real friends, or they are, the one that you can trust totally. And some people, they're doing it because they have a hidden agenda, or they just basically trying to be nice for you at that very moment because they need you. But then once they're done, and then that's it. Sometimes when they're also, when they're facing some challenges wherein that, even though they know it's wrong, but to save themselves, they would definitely, do the opposite way and try to hurt the person, and, just, save themselves. It's really hard to trust, really. And I tell you, this is just, not totally connected, but yeah, it's also about trust. But I really believe that trust, loyalty, respect are the most important ingredients, really, in any form of relationship. That's just my opinion, really. whether that is a romantic type of relationship, marriage, or your simple friends, when you're friends with someone. Trust, loyalty, and respect. Those are the main ingredients. And they're very, very important because that is equals to love at the same time, right? So if you trust someone, if you respect someone, if you're loyal to someone, then that is love. So when it comes to trust, it's true. It's hard to trust because there are some people who are really, really good at showing other people that, they're actually nice when they're actually not, Some people are really, really good at it. Like, they're really good at it. They would really, make you feel and believe that, they're really nice people and that they're your real friends, that they're there for you. But then sooner or later, their true colors will show. And you have to be, pay attention really because, again, there's sometimes, or most of the time, there's just hidden agenda. There are times I could actually, catch someone if they're just trying to be really nice to you because they needed something. And sometimes I just play around with it, play around with it. But anyway, that's a really good quote and something that would actually make you think, I'm not sure if this also happened to you, especially for those who are listening to this recording right now. But yeah, it's really, really important that you have to be mindful and wary of these type of people, or the people that you're connecting with, the people you are working with, or you're friends with, because you thought, or, you're friends with, because it's going to be really, really heartbreaking once the truth really, comes out and make you realize that all along this person is really not something that you can really, really give all of your full confidence and attention to or trust. And they say that the biggest betrayal actually comes not from your enemies, but from your friends sometimes. So that's really, quite dangerous there. And I remember this song, all of a sudden, this song, 80s new wave song that I like, I think it was Flock of Seagulls who sang that song, The More You Live, The More You Love. I think the lyrics goes like, don't ever give your heart to a stranger, don't tell your secrets to a friend, probably related to that as well, I would say. Anyway, let's move on to the next quote. Next quote, it says here, this is by Stephen Hawking. He's an English physicist. He says, quiet people have the loudest minds. There are a lot of interpretation for this, but they say it's about the introvert and the extrovert. They try to compare it, Extrovert are more outgoing, of course. They're more talkative. They're more the bubbly type of people. Yeah, noisy. And the introverts are usually the ones who are just very quiet. And they say that normally, or most of the time, the extrovert people are the ones who actually does more of the action than thinking about it first, compared to an introvert who tries to think about it, reflect about it, and then act upon it, or they may not act upon it, But I think between introvert and extrovert, I would be more of the introvert type of person, definitely. I'm an introvert, a self-confessed introvert, and that actually improved when I landed into this type of role that I am at work, where I have no choice because I need to deal with a lot of people, talk to them all the time, and try to build rapport with them all the time. So, it's sort of like improved the shyness a bit and the confidence, definitely. But I would still consider myself as an introvert, And the quiet people, because I'm actually a quiet person, really, my personality is, I can be very talkative. I can also try to be a social butterfly. I can do that, but most of the time I'm the quiet type of person, especially, there are times I just wanted to be alone, There are times I just wanted to be alone and just reflect and just do the stuff that I needed to fix. And to keep my focus, sometimes I'm just gonna, put on my headphones and just be really, really quiet in one corner. But definitely, quiet people have the loudest minds because they're the ones who are not too expressive. Most of the time, they're not too expressive. Like, I don't speak up most of the time about what they're thinking, But you would be really, really surprised that, quiet people, they have a lot of ideas racing around their heads, really creative ideas. And, I think the best advice for that is, somehow try to break that protective shell because they're shy about it, because, it could definitely help with their hidden ideas. But this quote, it depends really how you're going to relate to it, because I read this one blog before with, they're talking about that quote, and I like it, what that person said. Like, he doesn't, or she doesn't, I don't know, that person totally doesn't believe that quiet people have the loudest mind, That person believed that noisy people can have the loudest mind as well. A quiet person can also be quiet in terms of their own thoughts. But, according to that person, it really depends. But I guess it's more of what I can share about this quote is that they have the loudest minds because, again, they keep those ideas, their thoughts around, racing around their heads. Ideas or some thoughts probably about some people or situation that they're in. And in my case, I would have to say that the more quiet you become, or the more quiet you are, you tend to observe a lot of things. Really. You tend to observe a lot of things. And I believe that quiet people usually, they're great observers, unless they're not really focused. But, most of the time, those quiet people, you just don't know what you can hear from them if you really try to let them speak about something. There are a lot of things that are hidden there, either ideas or thoughts or whatever. But I like this quote, pretty much. I like this quote. Okay, so that's just basically what I think about it. It could be wrong, it could be right. But anyway, let's move on to the next quote. Okay, this one is, from one of my favorite bands. Of course, the lead singer of the band Nirvana, the late Kurt Cobain. I love Kurt Cobain. Really cool guy. Okay, I like what he said about this quote. It says here, "They laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at them because they're all the same." Yeah, I mean, I could also relate to this quote. That's probably why I like it, because, you know what, to put it simple, there are people who would actually try to judge you based on the actions, based on your hobbies, based on what you do, because it's not average, it's not standard, I could give a few examples, like, for instance, things like, I tend to listen to my MP3 or try to listen to music all the time with my headphones on. Actually, that changed quite a bit, but when I was, really like a sales employee at that time, selling parts for computers, at that time, a few years ago, I would actually, just put headphones while I'm still waiting for my call from the customers, and they would really, like, giggle about it, like, because, you're just really into music. Or some people, like, even now, they see me, like, just in one corner, or texting, or talking to someone, or listening to my headphones. They find it weird, which is funny, because people would actually try to judge you for something that is not normal. And it depends on the environment. For them, that is not normal, okay? Because they're environment, whether that's work environment, school, whatever, where there's something that stands out, like, this is what's normal. So if you're not doing the things that they've been doing, they would automatically judge you, and they would really try to assume things based on your actions, right? But sometimes people need to understand that, either, number one, either you really don't understand, you shouldn't judge the person because you really don't understand why that person is doing it, And at the same time, I totally believe that normalcy doesn't mean it has to be the acceptable, right? For instance, when I was actually trying to tell someone, there's this person who is really, really, he, or rather she, finds it really weird that I don't eat that much at work. Like, she sees me not taking my lunch breaks and working, listening to my headphones while, and just being focused at my job. And they would make a big fuss about it. Like, why is it that you're not eating? I mean, why is it that you're not taking a break? And I would tell them, because I already ate at home. And then they would really compare their eating habits with yours. Like, but I also eat at home, and I also eat 30 minutes later on, and then I also take lunch. It's just so funny. And then they would, suddenly try to judge you for something that is not, because it's not normal, And some people would even judge you like you have your own world. I get that kind of feedback, but I don't care. Because this is me, So I love that quote, because if you laugh at me because I'm different, then I would definitely laugh at them because they're all the same, And again, going back, normalcy doesn't mean being normal doesn't mean that's the only acceptable thing, Actually, being unique is actually very special. Although every individual, all of us are very unique in our own way, right? But I really don't, I don't find it such an issue for being different, like doing something very original, something that has, other people haven't done before, So I think it's just a matter of respect. Some people would really just laugh at you because, probably they can't do the things they've been doing, or just because they're just, bored, and they would like to, to try to say things because either they're jealous of you, or either because it's something not normal for them, and they think what's the normal thing should be the only way, or the only acceptable way. And, I find it really, really pathetic, honestly. Anyway, love that quote by Kurt Cobain. So I guess here's the last quote that I'm going to read off, and then we're done. And then we'll proceed in the next recording. I'm trying to think of a good title for this, but it's about quotes, definitely. Anyway, let's move on to the next quote here. So the last quote here, it says here, surround yourself with good people and good things will happen. I definitely agree to this one. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the law of association. There's law of attraction, right? You attract what you want. So the more that you actually don't want something, like your energy is focused on something that you don't want, then definitely you would attract it even more. But this one, I believe it's more about surrounding yourself with good people and good things will happen. It's like law of association, because it's really good that you associate yourself with people who have, good intentions, and people who are actually possess that positive vibe or positive outlook towards life. I definitely like this one, and I would definitely 100% or more agree to that, because it happened as well to me. If you try to associate yourself, even if you don't want to, you have no choice, but if you really try to be part of a group where this group of people have been doing a lot of negative things, it would definitely affect you. like in my case, I'm not going to drop names, but I know someone who's always negative about life, about the things that's been going around that person's marital life, about the people, loves to talk about people all the time, loves to talk about negative things, loves to pry into other, people's lives and talk about them and then say bad things about them and then always, talking about the problems at home and would post it at Facebook like, that person needed audience and that people, like she is seeking definitely some attention there. Like, a drama queen. Like, come on. It's quite draining, I tell you. It's quite draining. And, if you're surrounded with people like that, I don't think you can expect good things to happen, I tell you, because sooner or later you would, suddenly bump into a lot of, negative stuffs. Aside from they're draining the energy out of you, they're like energy vampires at the same time. It's really draining, and then suddenly, I don't know if it's just bad luck or what unfortunate things will happen. So I try to break off from those type of people, not only because you don't want to associate with the person because of that, but of course, definitely it's not going to do you any good anyway. So try to break off from those type of people and surround yourself with people who has the same mission, who has the same thoughts as you, unless you're the type of person who's also like that, right? But in my case, I really don't want to deal with people who are, always negative about things, about life, about situations. I find it much more inspiring if I bump into someone, despite of the problems that they've been having, that they're smiling about it, or not, because some people are just good at pretending, right? They put a mask. But some people are, openly telling you that they're having some problems, but then they would still try to show that they're, trying to struggle. They're struggling, but they're actually trying to show that they are very, very optimistic about it, that they're doing something about it. I find those people much more courageous and better to hang out with. As opposed to groups of people who always love to talk about other people and make fun of other people's mistakes. It's always negative stuff. And sooner or later, I'm going to talk about law of association, and that's a very interesting topic. It's something that my late father used to teach, or he taught all of my siblings, including me, of course. And that's a great, learning from there. And I think there was a quote about law of association, but I guess I could also link this quote that I just read about surrounding yourself with good people would actually give you positive outcome, or good things will happen. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I guess I've been talking here for more than 20 minutes, but that's the new audio recording that I'd like to share on top of the All About Scorpio. I'm still thinking of what topic I'm going to talk about next, but for now it's about Scorpios, the quotes that I like from famous personalities, and also thank you for also checking out some of those crappy food not really food videos that I've been posting in travel, but what, I really love traveling. I love food, and I'm still learning on how to cook, and of course, it's like a vlog, right? You just wanted to talk about the daily stuff that you feel like talking about. And I really appreciate it of you guys, taking your time to take a look at it. So anyway, I guess that's about it for now for the quote. And I'll come back again either with another recording about quotes or with a topic about Scorpios. So stay tuned. Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you. Goodbye, guys.